But with the coming of the Europeans, there was a greater competition between the British and the French. Because at that time, they believed the more countries you colonize, the more powerful you become. The French took the greater part of the land which they named as Senegal. The British, who were only in Senegambia Confederation. The Gambia and Senegal share the same religion, the same culture, the same tradition, and the same people. They named the country as Senegambia. But with the coming of the Europeans, there was a greater competition between the British and the French. Because at that time, they believed the more countries you colonize, the more powerful you become. The French took the greater part of the land which they named as Senegal. The British, who were only interested in the transatlantic oceans, they took the smaller part of the lands which they named as the Gambia. The smaller size and the population of the country called the Gambia created economic and social problems. Some people, such as the Akus and the British merchant, they proposed that the Gambia should be given to the French in order for it to be added to Senegal. But likewise, some of the Akus or the British merchant or traders, they opposed to that idea. A commission was tasked to look into this matter, whether the Gambia should be given to the French or whether the Gambia should remain as a sovereign state. And this commission recommended that the Gambia should be given outright to the French. But still, some of the British merchants and the Akus, they resented to that opposition. This was how the Gambia remained as a sovereign state of its own. This is the Senegambian Confederation before independence. Before the coming of the Europeans, the Gambia and Senegal, they share the same region called Senegambia. They share the same culture, the same tradition, the same people, and the same religion. But when the coming of the Europeans, they were interested in occupying territories. They believed the more territories you colonize, the more powerful you become. The French, who were only interested in the land size, they took the larger part of the land which they named as Senegal. The British, who were only interested in the Atlantic Ocean, they took the smaller part of the land which they named the Gambia. The small size and the population of the country called the Gambia created certain economic and political problems. Some people in the Gambia advocate that the Gambia should be given outright to the French in order to be added to Senegal. But some British merchants and the Akus, they resented to that idea, meaning the Gambia should remain as a sovereign state. A commission was established to look into this matter, whether the Gambia should be given to the French or the Gambia should remain as a sovereign state. This commission recommended that the Gambia should be given to the French to be added to Senegal. But still, some Gambians and some British merchants or traders, they opposed to that opposition, or they opposed to that idea. This was how the Gambia remained as a sovereign state. This is the Senegambian Confederations before independence. Senegambian relations or confederations after independence. When these two countries attained their political independence from the hands of their colonial masters. That is to say, when the Gambia gained their political independence from the hands of the British. And also when the Senegal also attained their political independence from the hands of the French. There was a negotiation going on between these two countries to sign a confederation. The then president of the Gambia was called Sadara Kairaba Jawara. And also at that time, the president of Senegal was called Abdou Diouf. There was a negotiation between Kairaba Jawara and Abdou Diouf to sign a confederation. And there was an agreement that was reached between these two countries. They signed agreement or treaties in the era of peace, external securities and the free movement of peoples and their goods from one place to another. In 1981, the president of the Gambia called Kairaba Jawara, he went to England to attend a wedding of Prince Charles in England. A retired civil servant called Kuga Samasanyang, he attempted to overthrow a constituted elected government of Kairaba Jawara in 1981. Kairaba Jawara appealed to his French counterpart in Senegal. Abdou Diouf sent his soldiers to come in the Gambia. When they came, they were able to drive out the impostors, that is Kuka Samasanyang and his people, and restore a constituted elected government of Kairaba Jawara in 1981. Abdou Diouf used this as an advantage to persuade Kairaba Jawara to sign an agreement that will lead to the formation of the Senegambian Confederation. 2 years later, in 1982, Senegambian Confederation was signed. And in these confederations, Abdou Diouf became the president and Kairaba Jawara became the vice president. This Senegambian Confederation did not last long. It lasted for 6 or 7 years. In 1989, the Senegambian Confederation collapsed or ended. There are many contributing factors that lead to the collapse of the Senegambian Confederations. There are many reasons that lead to the collapse of the Senegambian Confederations. One of the reasons for the collapse of the Senegambian Confederation in 1989, the electorates were not informed. Abdou Diouf and Kairaba Jawara signed an agreement that leads to the formation of the Senegambian Confederations. Most of the electorate in these two countries were not aware about the formation of the Senegambian Confederations. 2. During the formation of the Senegambian Confederations, the Senegalese troops were stationed in the Gambia, which frightened our Gambian people at that time. It also contributed immensely to the collapse of the Senegambian Confederations in 1989. 3. These two countries, they belong to different colonial masters. Senegal was colonized by the French, as the Gambia was colonized by the British. So they speak different official language, which also contributed immensely to the collapse of the Senegambian Confederations. 4. These two countries are different in size and populations. Senegal was far greater or larger than the Gambia in size and populations. So Abdou Diouf used that as an advantage to be the president of the Senegambian Confederations and Kairaba Jawara be the vice president of the Senegambian Confederation. That did not go down well with the Gambian people. It also contributed greatly to the collapse of the Senegambian Confederations. 5. These two countries use different currencies. The Gambia was using dollars as their currency, and Senegal was using CFA as their currency. So it was another great contributing factor for the collapse of the Senegambian relations or confederations. So these are some of the reasons for the collapse of the Senegambian Confederations. This is Senegambian relations or confederation for you before and also after independence. Yes.